people used to do things with their hands and feel some type of, I don't know if you guys know this, but back when they were making like the Betty Crocker cake stuff, no, just listen. When they were making the Betty Crocker cake stuff, right? Women didn't want to buy it because they didn't feel like they were really making a cake. So they were like, if you add an egg to this and you actually manually break it yourself, these women will psychologically feel like they're baking cakes. It's like true. That's what they did, right?
It's wild.
It's true. Well, a lot of people are not feeling satisfaction because they're not physically doing labor. Even if you tinker with something, right? There's some satisfaction out of that. These certain service jobs or no jobs or whatever are making people mentally unwell. And then you have
how do you measure the health of a country? How do you
Right.
measure the health of a country? Is it gross domestic product, or is it kind of some inexplicable hidden factors?
I mean, GDP correlates with almost every positive outcome you
But
can
it's
possibly
not
think
just
of. But
gross
like,
domestic
No, they're doing happiness
but
studies now
like
that are saying that they don't correlate.
But the
behavioral economics.
That people on the assembly line had better jobs and felt more satisfied. It's just, I mean, you look at the complaints about capitalism 100 years ago or even 50 years ago, there was like all this soul-draining drudgery of the assembly line, and
There were people that loved them. They were advocating
now
for their kids to go work there too because their kids weren't
No, but
allowed to work there.
wait a
Yes, they
minute.
were in England. Their
Why do
kids were not allowed to work at factories, and they were furious about it. And there were protests and marches to get their kids working in the factories.
I thought we didn't want child labor. I thought we didn't want child labor.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think children should
Have you heard
work.
of the touch grass
I don't know.
thing? Why is it like a chronically online slogan to say touch grass if we didn't desperately need to
true.
touch grass?
I agree.
As a culture, I mean, the fact that we're glued
I
to
just
our
don't think the
screens-
way to touch grass is to make people work at McDonald's,
Honestly, I think
no,
it would
maybe
be a
we should
great...
force unemployed teenagers to do that. I think that's a different question.
It's a very formative entry-level role. I was a waitress.
I worked
and
in
let me tell
college.
you, it's
But
great.
But that's service sector. That's not.
Yes.
But like the idea that
manufacturing.
those jobs that connect us personally in education, in healthcare, nursing, home healthcare, all of these jobs that have been created, they are connecting us interpersonally. I think that's a great thing. That's better than being a drone on an assembly line. We've obviously innovated our way out of that problem for the most part. That's a great thing for the country. I don't think that whatever's good for our soul is going to be going back to that and taking away the opportunities that have been created to do this interpersonal service.
I mean, I do
sector
think doing things with their hands is good for us.
It's constructive.
But the question is what things, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a manufacturing job.
Nurses do things with their hands too.
Yeah.
It's not.
They're
It's like you
safer
mentioned
things.
interpersonal. If this is bearing such great interpersonal fruits, why is the country experiencing record levels of loneliness? Why are young people reporting so much depression and anxiety? Like, why is there
Majoring
a mental
in
health
psychology.
crisis?
Yeah,
Majoring
I
in
mean, this is-
psychology.
this is
Everybody
a-
has a therapist. I'm sorry. I don't think all these people need therapists.
Of course they don't need therapy. Therapy is a problem
It's a
to
scam.
a solution.
They just need
In
something
many
to
ways,
do.
it's a scam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
I
need
mean,
to feel the value.
those. I don't think those issues are a result of increase in prosperity. I think those issues are mainly a result of breakdowns in family
Well, actually,
life.
it
and-
is.
this is
In
where
fact,
Vivek
you know
was
what we
right.
say in the rest of the world? It's first world problems. It's because you are wealthy enough to
Yes.
We don't
to be
have
concerned about
adversity.
those
As a
things.
country, we live in immense decadence and prosperity. We do not face adversity. And it's interesting. I went to the MI Gala where Douglas Murray was the keynote speaker.
That was
and
great. That was
just,
free
it was incredible. And it was just this case study about how we went to Israel in the aftermath of October 7th and the war, and how the young people there shocked him. Because just like here, our young people are dismissed as, oh, you good for nothing. You're addicted to your screens, and you don't care about contributing to society. And there it's the same reputation that young people had. And he was amazed at how they sprung into action when Israel was facing existential crisis. When the country was under attack from all sides, the young people wowed everyone with what they were capable of, as well as how much patriotism suddenly was sparked within them. Israel's a different case, but I think America, the culture, and I don't know if it's really what Vivek was saying, but there's something deeply suppressed about our culture. We haven't experienced like this, like fraternal love of like our citizens and for each other because work because of what is in our national identity. I think is unknown actually at this point. And it used to be quite clear. And frankly, I think it was those big crises, international wars, especially World War II, that almost activated this sense of understanding of who we are as a people, and we don't.
I want to say something about Israel and bring it back to the immigration stuff, because Israel is an amazing case on the whole immigration situation. I think I read on X that somebody said, why doesn't Israel need tech workers from abroad to be in a powerhouse? Actually, they do. First, they have an amazingly liberal high-skilled visa program where the only requirement is that you make over twice the average salary of an Israeli and get sponsored by a tech company. And then second, Israel, maybe doesn't count as foreign workers, but you can do aliyah if you're Jewish abroad. And in fact, after the Soviet Union fell, the population of Israel grew by like 20% from Soviet Jews, who were very different culturally, even in looks, racially, you could say, even though they're still Jewish, from the previous Israeli
Their
population.
traditions were very similar.
Their cultural was similar. That's
Right.
true. Or at least,
That makes a huge difference for
or at least they
assimilation
were
purposes.
considered similar because they were not religious at all, unlike the previous Jews who were there.
But H-1B people are not Westerners.
Right. So, but the point of this is Israel, had extreme prosperity from really highly skilled people. They were very smart. They do have this creedal, it's the Jewish state, right? It's the only developed nation in the world with above replacement fertility. The fertility rate of Israelis is 3 children per woman. It's the only one. It's like a puzzle. Like, why isn't fertility going down in Israel? And I think it's because of these values, right? So you do need to have a revival of values in America. And I don't think that's about immigration policy.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon. So subscribe and come hang out.